Hey everybody, Dr. John, Better Life Chiropractic and Wellness. Eric is the guy behind the scenes doing the technology stuff for me. So I hope you're having a good day, but tomorrow is our push-up challenge. So for those of you that were around a few months ago, we did the burpee challenge. We had a lot of good results and successes from that. People of all ages, all skill sets. We're like, wow, I'm happy to succeed in something like this. I never thought I'd be able to do a burpee or a modification of that. All the way to the point where there's some people that gave me a sheet of paper even a week or two later than the month, said, hey, it took me a little longer, but I did it. You know, so I've talked to a lot of people about the push-up challenge. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do a push-up. I said, we're going to give some modifications, so this is good for anybody. Because what I remind all people, I don't care if it's a kid, adult, a wiser adult, let's say, there's modifications that anybody can do, right? So we're going to give some modifications today. There's a sheet of paper that we have in our office. If you don't have that, please, grab that, or in the email, I think we either did send one or we will send this along with this. But it goes through basically, maybe we're the lowest number we're starting with is 15 push-ups per day, all the way up to, sorry, what did you say, 40? 40? 40, 1, 2, 3, 6. So these are things of, do I have to do 15 and 40 all at one time? I don't care what you do. I just want you to succeed. If you can only do 2 or 3 or 5, do it later in the day. Do it later in the day from there, right? So this is one of those things we want to encourage people to be a part of what we're doing, and you can be at home to do this. So we're going to go through some of the different modifications. A couple things when we do a push-up, I always recommend with all people. Number one, for those of you that are patients, one thing I yell a lot, keep your shoulder blades together. So a lot of people that lift weights a ton don't like me for saying this, but when you're doing a push-up, you should keep your shoulder blades tight and you should squeeze that acorn between them all the time. So a lot of people, when they're doing a push-up, they do this and then they go all the way forward. That opens the shoulder blades and creates this curvature and forward bending of the pec muscles and chest area. That's not what I want. When you're doing a push-up, you should be able to do this motion back and forth, squeezing your shoulder blades together. That's step one. Number two, when you're doing push-ups, your spine and your body should be fairly straight. I'm a big fan when people talk about practice makes perfect. That's a lie. Perfect practice makes perfect. So when I see people do push-ups or a bench press at a gym and they're doing all crazy stuff, I'm like, you're not doing any favors for yourself. Yeah, maybe you can move a lot of weight or things around, but at the end of the day, what's your goal? To move a lot of things around or support this thing that you get for hopefully a really long period of years? Okay, so number one, shoulders are only here. Number two, your spine should be pretty straight, head as well. I don't want to see any of this kind of stuff or these crazy things, except for maybe a modification that we'll talk about. Number three, hey, my wrists, I'm worried about my wrists. Okay, so when you're doing push-ups, you can either do them like this, or you can do it in this position. Just realize when your wrists are like this, it's more pressure on it. So sometimes I just do it on my wrists and my knuckles so it's straight. Don't do this, right? It's got to be right in the middle. So hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to do some modifications. So we're going to start with some easier ones, and then we're going to go up to some more difficult ones. So there's a lot of people that are like, hey, I can't do that on the ground or whatever. I'm like, that's fine. So remember, this is not a competition with anybody else. There's people way stronger than me, good for them. There's people less strong than I am, and that's okay. We want to help you hit a target, do an exercise program, and have you, again, succeed is the key word. So, push-ups, start against the wall, right? So what I have people do from here as a starting point, maybe give yourself 1.5 feet or 2 from the wall. Okay, I'm just going to do this as an example. So I'm just coming in, coming back out. Simple as that. You can put your hands against it or whatever the case is, but this is something, again, it's not much pressure, but for those people that don't maybe have the strength, that's an okay starting point, okay? If that's okay, maybe go back a little bit further. So again, look at my shoulders. I'm not doing this kind of crazy stuff. Maybe should have worn shorts and a t-shirt after yoga this morning to show this, but so here's the next step. So kind of the same thing. Here, coming back out. And that's quote unquote harder, but it's not overly challenging depending upon the person. So there's always modifications that everybody can do. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So, really close, the further away you are, the further away. Another modification would be if you have a kitchen table or something that's safe enough to put your pressure on. Instead of here, maybe you have the table here, and maybe you're using that as the push-up. So it's not all of your weight on the ground, okay? Now, we're gonna go onto the ground and we're gonna show you some more modifications. Hopefully the top of my head doesn't shine too badly for you. So when we look at these push-ups, I'll just kind of come down here, right? So when we do push-ups, there's whole different types, right? Let's start here. We're good, Eric. Okay, so on your knees, right? So whether you do it like this, okay, what you're doing is you're just slowly coming down, slowly coming back up. Again, I'm not a huge fan of people doing this unless that's more of a detailed push-up exercise. So again, from this position, keep your head straight. I don't want to have people doing this. I don't want to have people doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff, right? So just come straight down, come straight up, okay? That's one of the modifications. The next thing is we can go into, okay, the quote-unquote normal push-up that people think about. So from this position, again, here's a fairly straight plank, I think. Eric, maybe kind of, sort of. A lot of people are going to want to do this. Some people, when they're in this position, are going to do push-ups like this. That's not the goal. The goal is to keep it fairly straight, slowly come down, slowly come back up. Again, not all the way here. And you can do it when you're on your knuckles as well if you choose to. That's perfectly fine. So that's the push-up that most people think of, right? Again, modifications, we're all about that. If you want to make it harder. Couple things. So number one, you could do this where you come down and do it like a clap. You can do a harder modification, losing my words, where you actually bring your leg up. So when you're doing this, you bring your leg up, come back up. Same thing other side, right? So those are hard for me. I'll admit my chest area, it's not the strongest part of my body. So these are all things, use tons of modifications. So whether you're someone that's doing simple stuff, medium, more difficult, I don't care where you are, I want to succeed. Is there anything else I'm missing?
To register.
To register.
Some giveaways.
Okay, yeah, we're going to do a couple really big prizes. Really, really big prizes. Wink, wink. For people that are just a part of what we're doing. Again, our mission is to help people. So the more you're a part of that, the more we reward people. Yes, they're going to be really small things. But we want people to be engaged in something that's positive versus all the negativity that's out there. Register. Sadly, I'm out of breath a little bit, and that's bad. I got to get working on me. So you can go on the website. For those of you seeing this, are we going to have a link?
It'll be in the newsletter sent out about the push-up challenge. It'll be on social media.
Okay. So he said newsletter, social media, Facebook, that kind of stuff. Sign up. Those are things too. And for the record, if somebody hurts a shoulder doing this, it's not my fault. You're doing this volitionally on your own thing. I take no responsibility for anybody hurting themselves. Let's see. So that's about it. So again, modifications, have some fun. Send us messages. There's a hashtag as well, I want to say, that we have for this.
Better life and better movement.
Okay, hashtag better life and hashtag better movement. And those are things too to engage with us and realize you're not alone. We've actually had tons of people want to do this, so it's cool to be a part of that. So share it with your friends, loved ones, neighbors, coworkers. We're here to make the world a better place. In the meantime, with a better life and Better Life Chiropractic and Wellness. Hope you have a great day, guys. See you soon.